Now to golf pro Phil Mickelson. He's facing backlash over the comments he made supporting a Saudi-backed golf tour. He lost one of his biggest sponsors, now apologizing.
Remember the story we covered previously on Phil Mickelson?
We have known that Jared Kushner is close with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The exchanges continued even after the October 2nd killing of Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist who was ambushed and dismembered by Saudi agents, according to two former senior American officials and two people briefed by the Saudis. It goes even further. Kushner has offered the Crown Prince advice about how to weather the storm, urging him to resolve his conflicts around the region and avoid further embarrassments.
Maybe Phil was like, I want what Jared's got. Maybe he sees how Daddy Trumpito has enabled the Saudis.
It was at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul that Jamal Khashoggi met his brutal end. The motive was to silence him. The damning conclusion of the declassified intelligence report is that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the country's de facto leader, approved an operation in Istanbul to capture or kill the Saudi journalist. The assessment was based on the Crown Prince's control of decision-making in the kingdom, the direct involvement of a key advisor and members of his protective detail in the operation. These aren't new findings. The Trump administration had suppressed this report.
He would support the new league even though the Saudis are scary to get involved with. We know they killed Khashoggi and have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay. Knowing this, why would I even consider it? Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. I'm not sure I even want it to succeed, but just the idea of it is allowing us to get things done with the PGA Tour.
Alas, he made these asinine comments about the Saudis' upstart golf league.
I thought they were naive, selfish, egotistical, ignorant. A lot of words to describe that.
Thus, Rory McIlroy let it be known how unacceptable Phil and others' motives were, but also how his words should be condemned.
A stunning fall from grace. Stunning fall from grace. Because the words he said are just beyond the pale of what's important in life and what you stand for in life.
Because these are the people we're enticing to play the game of golf.
Say what's up to South African golf legend Gary Player. After lefties, I know Saudis are bad and they murder journalists, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where I stand to make more money. A man with, by the way, career earnings that surpassed reportedly $400 million. Well, he lost sponsors left and right. He made the choice to not participate in the Masters this past weekend, a choice that many outlets have acknowledged he made on his own terms. Still, Gary Player said the following. I think it's pitiful, Player said of the treatment of Mickelson. It's amazing. From the epitome of perfection, he's down there being crucified. It's not right. The greatest PR man on the golf tour in the last 5 or X amount of years has been Phil Mickelson. He has been the ideal man for a sponsor, for pro golf, for the public, the way he's handled the public, with dignity, with love, and he said he's sorry. I've told him, hold your head up high. You've made a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. He should go on with his life. Via Deadspin's Sean Beckwith. There are so many confounding aspects of this story. It's hard to find a starting spot. However, I have to begin somewhere, so I'll pick evoking Jesus Christ. What cross is Mickelson being nailed to? There are rumors he's suspended, yet Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan dodged the question when asked about it, saying the leave is voluntary and they'll cross that bridge when Mickelson returns. Here's another important note to this story. Player 86 rocked a Saudi-branded sweater at the ceremonial start before the 86th Masters. He is an official ambassador for Golf Saudi, who are linked with the Rebel Circuit. The row comes a year after Player's son Wayne was banned by Augusta National for using the honorary drive off the first tee for ambush marketing. Essentially what you have here is Gary Player making an appearance at golf's most prestigious club, prestigious course, and yet propagating the Saudis' golf league. It is like they planted him there to spew their propaganda and also serve as a focal point of what could be. We have continuously gone over Saudi Arabia's treacherous practices of human rights. HRW noted the regular use of torture on detainees. Same-sex relations remain illegal, punishable by flogging or imprisonment. The state has made much play of how progressive it has been in allowing women the right to drive. However, HRW reports some prominent activists spent nearly 3 years in prison for peacefully protesting for that very right. They remain under suspended sentences, banned from travel, and prohibited from pursuing their human rights work, all of which Formula One was more than aware when they first agreed to race in Saudi Arabia last year, but they were reminded in no uncertain terms of exactly with whom they were dealing just days before arriving in the country. On March 12th, the state executed 81 men in a single day. What makes it more baffling is that player, who, yes, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from an insurrectionist president, comes from an apartheid state. In his 1966 book, Grand Slam Golf, Player wrote at the age of 30, "I must say now and clearly that I am of the South Africa, a Ver-word, and apartheid." He later declared that a good deal of nonsense is talked of and indeed thought about segregation. Segregation of one kind or another is practiced everywhere in the world. Player describes South Africa as a nation which is the result of an African graft on European stock and which is the product of its instinct to maintain civilized values and standards among the alien barbarians. He goes on to write about black South Africans with the vocabulary of a white supremacist, espousing the colonial framework of the uncivilized natives and the civilized Christian settlers. In the late 1960s and early 70s, several activist groups began to protest against players' participation in golf tournaments because of his support for the apartheid regime. However, in a 2014 article from the South China Morning Post, Player simplified these protests against him as being because he was South African, rather than because of, his views and support for apartheid. Furthermore, in the 70s, Player was working for the Committee for Fairness in Sports, a public relations organization funded by the South African government to push back against the boycotts. He was also being paid by the South African government to play golf with U.S. business executives in an attempt to persuade them not to withdraw their investments from the country. Back at the Masters, Player also raised eyebrows with remarks about Indian women, saying, and I quote, "I was really charmed," he said of a recent trip to the country. "I love India. The intelligence, the technology, the manners, so humble. The women dress so nicely. I'm so used to seeing women with damn dresses up their burn, and you don't see anything like that in India." So look, Gary Player may think the backlash of Phil's "allow me to dig my own grave" comments are harsh. However, considering the guy who is defending Phil Mickelson and Gary Player, take it as nothing more than premium lip service.